My relationship with my mom was rocky, to say the least. But a small miracle happened the night my daughter was born. Let me be clear, I do not come from a lineage of women that I should take advice from. They were more an example of what not to do, except for one sterling string of advice whispered fervently from my mother 23 years ago to me. Words that stay with me and words that I've shared with my own daughter. My mom, Gladys Poppy Bell Wolven, lived a raucous childhood during the Great Depression and was cursed with her own personal demons. My earliest memory of her is sitting behind a bush in our suburban tract home in Southern California, watching the ambulance lights dance around on our driveway while they wheeled my mother out on a stretcher. I was about 4. Although I didn't understand what was happening, later I realized that she had one of many nervous breakdowns. She was hospitalized many times during my childhood for psychotic episodes, where she thought she was Mary, Mother of God, a German tourist who strangely knew German, even though in her sane mind she didn't know a foreign language, and moments of incredibly manic behavior, indescribable and scary to me as a child. Later, when I was an adult, she would have a manic episode when a doctor allowed her to go off of her lithium. She thought that traveling on an airplane with a rolled-up burgundy fake Persian rug she had won at a church auction to visit her sister in Texas would be a great idea. It wasn't, and it took our entire family an afternoon to track her down and convince the airline not to let her board the plane with that damn rug. Life with my mom was interesting. In 1976, when I was just 6 years old, she was finally committed to the California State Mental Hospital, which, thank goodness, is no longer in operation, for it was a circle in Dante's version of hell. It was there, though, that she was saved, not by Jesus, but by a young Russian psychiatrist who was researching a newly diagnosed disorder, manic depression, or now known as bipolar disorder. My mother was plucked out by Dr. Borovinsky from that rotting chamber and given her life back. Manic depressive order is a condition in which people go back and forth between periods of very good or irritable mood and depression. The mood swings between mania and depression can be very quick. So quick that people around you may not know what is happening. Carrie Fisher, Virginia Woolf, and Hemingway are all diagnosed bipolars. It may be the hot new mental diagnosis, all the rage among celebrities and socialites, but in 1976, it was just a psychotic behavior. That all changed for my mom when Dr. Borovinsky saw something in her. He would pluck out something worth saving, even though she was frequently drugged with Thorazine, given electroshock therapy on a regular basis. He could see beyond that and was struck by her boundless creativity and off-the-charts brilliance. Frankly, he saved her life. After years of living in a group home and then eventually an apartment on her own, she bounded back into my life at 13 as a new, somewhat saner woman, remarrying my father, and I wasn't thrilled. I had gotten accustomed to being with my father, who doted on my every whim. My mother, the larger-than-life character that she was, even when medicated to a sense of sanity, pushed me aside and resumed her rightful place as queen, displacing the princess, me. Dr. B may have cured her of her manic episodes, but she was still mean, jealous, egotistical, and everything a teenage girl did not want. We both loved my father, but my place at the table was moved, and I had to learn to accept that. It's taken me 30 years. There was a light in this sad story 23 years ago on an early morning in May. My daughter rushed into the world so fast that even our obstetrician couldn't get to the hospital in time. I barely had my hospital gown on when she landed on my breast. We hadn't called any family members to be with us in the hospital. This was our moment. But after our daughter was born, we relented and called my parents to share the happy news. They were at my hospital room, fully dressed, looking elegant and lovely at 2:45 a.m., 15 minutes after I called. My father and husband went down to the nursery to make sure they weren't switching babies while they poked and prodded our daughter. That was when my mom earnestly took my hand and said words that forever changed my life. "Live for you," she said. "You will always love your daughter, but remember, you will always be you, and you need your own life." I looked at her with grateful, tired eyes as she shared her innermost wisdom with me. Her true self showed through the years of misunderstanding, difficulty, and sadness at what our own relationship had become. She said, "Don't try to give your whole self away. Keep just a little bit for you." I listened. Oh, how I listened to my mother.